Hi, I'm Rob from Spot On Lancashire, and I'm here with Heather Fox. Heather has been a friend of Spot On since it started as an arts officer in Ribble Valley, Wyre, and later LCC. Her sister was also a promoter in our very first season. She's the Cultural Queen of Lancashire and is currently the Libraries and Heritage Manager at Lancashire County Council. We're having this chat surrounded by files of past brochures and posters. So I'm going to jump in, Heather. What's your earliest memory of Spot On Lancashire?
So my earliest memory of Spot On was because there were so few shows in a season, you could get to everything. And that was just amazing. And going into village halls and seeing something absolutely amazing, so exciting, that you wouldn't even be able to see in the larger towns of Lancashire. You know, you'd have to be travelling to some of the bigger cities to be seeing work of that quality. And that felt like quite a transformational moment.
So you, as the arts officer in Ribble Valley, you helped facilitate the one of our very first shows at Aiton, Chagley and Bailey Memorial Hall in Hurst Green.
I did indeed. And I remember that because prior to the Spot On rural touring, you know, the council had just put on ad hoc shows, and you never really got the opportunity to develop audience in that way. But actually working with promoters, that was when it started to get really exciting. Sort of instead of us deciding what we wanted to put on and trying to go out and get an audience for it, actually working with promoters who would say, we know who everybody is locally. We're going to put a brochure through their letterbox. We're going to have a chat in the local shop and make sure that everybody was invested in what was coming to their village.
It's hard to believe that you've been attending Spot On shows for nearly 30 years, Heather. It's incredible. So what's the most memorable show you've ever seen?
Okay, so I think there are a lot of shows that I remember quite vividly. But I think one of the most amazing things that I saw was the ukulele orchestra of Great Britain that was in Melling Village Hall, I think in collaboration with Green Close, and they, I think, were helping to promote it. And it was just an outstanding evening. It was just, you knew that you were on the start of something really big for them. And I think they have gone on to be enormous now. I don't think there's any way they'd kind of like tour village halls, except with a really big, you know, a big fee attached, you know. But it was such an outstanding evening, and just everybody was having such a great time. And you sort of scanned across the room, and everybody was just singing the songs and just having a really great time. And I think that sense of community is so important for Spot On. You know, it's a real USP. You know, it feels like you can turn up to a Spot On show by yourself, but then you're not by yourself. You're in a whole room full of people who are, everybody is laughing and joking together and enjoying those experiences together. I think that's really special.
It really is. That community, we often say that it's the artist visiting the audience rather than the other way around.
Absolutely, yeah.
That community ownership is really important as well. So the all-important question is, have you ever won anything in a Spot On promoter raffle?
Do you know, I haven't, but it's not for the lack of trying. And, you know, hope springs eternal. I will continue to have those raffles. And even when people say, oh, there's so many raffle prizes, you must all go home with a prize, somehow that doesn't seem to apply to me. But, you know, it doesn't matter. I'll keep going with it because who knows what I could win.
We'll keep our fingers crossed for you.
Yeah.
So, in the wider sense, and what do you think Spot On brings to Lancashire?
Okay, so I think Spot On started very much as a rural programme, and I think it's very clear what it does across the whole rural areas of Lancashire. You know, it brings great quality performances into those villages. It fosters that sense of community, people working together to put something on in their village, to promote it, to own it. And just that sense of everyone having that great cultural experience that they might not be able to have access to. And I think, that's really one of the most important things that it brings. But obviously now we're in libraries as well. And so there's more of the, I suppose, peri-urban sort of urban venues around. And I suppose it's really easy to think that urban areas are all well served with cultural activity, and certainly some are, but a lot aren't. And actually, having regular activities of this quality within our libraries is just fantastic. Our library staff really enjoy it, they get behind it, and it just brings something different into that program. And it's those different conversations to have with people. And again, it's that sense of community once they come together.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So what would you say to someone who's yet to attend a Spot On promoted show, either rurally or in a library? And why should they bother?
I think it's exceptionally good value. The ticket price has remained, very fair. And when you think how much a cinema ticket is, to actually be going out to see a live performance and, having that experience and not having to go with a group of people. You don't have to go with family or friends. You can just go yourself, but you won't be just yourself once you get there. You're in this sense of community. So I just think there's so much more there than going to a show. It's not like a theatre or music show where you might go to a big theatre where you might have a seat number and you sit in a certain place and you might have some small interactions with the people around you. Actually, if you go to a Spot On show and you want to, you can have lots of interactions with everyone around you because everybody is in that very friendly spirit of coming to want something really great to happen. So I would urge anybody to go and give it a try. And even if you think, I'm not sure what's in the brochure, I don't exactly know about that, never heard of these people, well, that's the joy. Go and discover, because it will be an absolutely top quality night. I've never been disappointed by a Spot On show.
Oh, fantastic. That's great to hear. So looking at this wonderful archive, like I say, we're surrounded by posters and brochures and folders. What do you think have been the biggest changes in the way that Spot On has operated over the last 30 years?
I think one of the things is the number of shows that have been in that tour. So, that's gone up dramatically. And obviously with that, then the number of venues. So that's a big thing in itself. But also, obviously, within that time frame, we've gone from, two colour printing, A4 or folded down, quite a simple thing, although at the time that seemed a perfectly acceptable program, didn't they, really? I think people's expectations now are so much more. And obviously we've gone from that to a much fuller program of activity, but there's also other things in that program as well, which I think have been really good. The audience is trusting Spot On to come up with a great list of shows. And I think certainly through the pandemic, when we went over onto the newspaper, the Spot On at Home, I think, there was the trust there of all of those people of, right, okay, so we can't go out and see a show, but we could watch some things online. We could watch some really great things. We could also read these articles. We could make some things at home that are sort of directed under this sort of professional artists from around Lancashire suggesting projects. So I think all of that has developed. And I think people's trust in Spot On is, okay, well, if you're suggesting it, then it must be good and I'll give it a try. But I think, going from an A4 folded, I always think that looks, it seems amazing, doesn't it? From that to a, full brochure, and also the amount of content online, not just that we use social media, but obviously also then the stories and, all of that content that is available for people to dip in and see, oh, yeah, I like the sound of that. I'll give it a try. Just feels like transformationally different, doesn't it?
It's a world we couldn't imagine in
No.
1995.
No, indeed.
And
indeed.
we never would have predicted, we might have predicted growth, but we never would have predicted growth in the way that you've just described.
No,
using online and social media.
No, absolutely.
Yes, yeah. So it was hard in 1995 to look to the future, but as we move into our 30th year and beyond, what would you like to see happening next under the Spot On banner?
Oh, you see, that's a really good question. I do like the way that Spot On has tried to get out of venues, do some pop-up outdoor shows, things where there are audiences that are reluctant to come in, and I think just that idea of being able to reach more people in different ways, whether that's digitally or face-to-face, ways to engage people, to build audiences. And I just think we already offer quite a lot on the brochure. But I think it's sort of never saying never to anything, isn't it? It's sort of looking at, well, what next? We do theatre, we do music, we do dance really well. But then in the next programme, obviously, we've got the piece with the artist.
Yes.
And where they're doing a demonstration. I think that's really interesting. It's sort of like testing out what people will come and see. And I'd always want to see, what do we think people might be interested in? And obviously, as new audiences come in at the younger end as well, what have we got in there? And years ago, Spot On ran a young promoters scheme.
Yes.
And maybe there's scope in the future for something similar, young promoters, or maybe it might be promoting with a group of people who just haven't engaged, and actually what would help them engage. So I think there's loads of scope. It's never a clearly defined and contained thing. It's always a world of opportunity, I think, Spot On.
Fantastic. Heather, that's been amazing. It's been lovely talking to you. Let's make a date to get together for the 60th anniversary.
Indeed.
Take that forward.
Indeed. And Rob, you will look the same. And of course, I will have aged. But yeah, let's definitely do that.
Not at all. We shall park our Zimmer frame
Indeed,
together. But thank you very much.
Thank you, Rob.
Absolutely wonderful.